Good morning. This is the crypto day morning. Today's date, Tuesday, the 20th of November, 2018. All bets, trades, and of the like within one's own risk and their own reward. And in this game, the crypto trading, the crypto price action movement, the volatility, of course, is tremendous. So heavy risk, heavy reward within this game. And a lot of people now, of course, are experiencing portfolio levels that are declining, with Bitcoin going lower and practically the vast majority of all the other coins doing the same thing as well. When we look at the daily chart for Bitcoin, we can see the price action for the session is down 7%. Yesterday it was down 14 and 3/4. And I drew this line in here, which represented the support level that had dropped below on the November 15th session. And then after a market correcting through that of time, with an interesting failed breakout period on the 1300 timestamp on, well, this one here, as it managed to break above this resistance, failed breakout, very small failed breakup, a very fast failed move to the downside. As I was mentioning yesterday, how it was finding a little bit of support at this level, and in yesterday's video, along the lines of how, because it was just barely below this, I was expecting further decline. Sure enough, that was the case, as it broke down below 51.95. Now down to about 40, well, it's at 4,400, making a low in at 42.37. And that was in the general area where I was talking, probably about 4,500. As when looking at this on, say, well, first a 3-day time frame, that's not going to really help too much. We'll get back to that in a little bit, actually. But on the weekly term time frame, I was talking about coming back to this little area here from where it came from, which is what it has done, but also breaking down below the 6,000 support level, 58-ish hundred number. That is significant leg lower, would have to be at least to this. So therefore, it has had about the minimum of a failed move, or not a failed move, of a leg lower from the break of this support. I do think that there's a much higher chance now, because it didn't bottom near the 4,800, 4,700 area, that this is going to be a failed breakdown. But I mean, you never know. I do fully expect that it's going to go to 3,000 as where this leg lower is going to be. It might be one of those quick ones, as we're seeing in the next day or two. It could be one of the ones that starts to patternize itself towards such, where we might make some sideways and up and down movements before getting down towards the 3,000 level, which of course is a number I've been talking about for quite some time. Because generally speaking, whenever you have a market and you're working within the key Fibonacci levels of 23.6, 38.2, 61.8, and 76.4%, and that's on the exponential level, that when you retrace to one key point and it works solidly to that level, which 6,300 area most certainly did, that the next leg lower is almost always going to be that next one, of course, that's in at a hair above 3,000, which means you would expect it to pierce a bit below that. With that being said, let's take a look at some longer term time frames. On the monthly chart, it has now broken down below the 18 average of lows, which was a sideways moving market. Its previous level, and this is going to be the next key point if the 3,000 level doesn't work, will be closer in towards this key previous high, this congested area in here, a little over 1,200, but you can pierce that down to even as low as high 800, low 900. But that again would be talked about much later if a possible situation were to occur. In the 3-month chart, and there's not much data to go by here, but there's some, is enough, as we can see in here within the July 2015 move, that the price action was near the 18 average of lows, and then it really got above it for a good leg higher, breaking, of course, this point. It's now just getting into the 18 average. Over the last two periods, it was supporting the 18 average of highs. the 18 average of lows happens to come in at $2,809.92. You can see the number on the left-hand side of the screen where we got the highs in at 64.81, and then of course that low there. I have seen many situations where the 18 lows has been good support. I think this just coincides very well amongst the 3,000 level. A spot like that, because when I look at the story of the market, what's the status? And throughout the entire majority of 2018, basically, ever since the April Fool's rally, it was very noticeable that we were getting into this lower or matching low, lower high pattern. And well, that was the status of the market. And then the break of this support and continuation down move, leg lower, capitulation that has continued, has changed the story. And that story is working towards the move of making it to about $3,000 per coin, which of course now at $43.87 has still got a good $1,400 to go. And I wouldn't be surprised if it does pierce down to 28. Hence the reason why I like my buy orders in a little over $3,000 with the ones that I'm doing so far with my hedge bets that I have within the Bitcoin price, or the buy orders to accumulate Bitcoin at the lower price. Because if I'm looking to buy or sell somewhere, I'll look to be a target to where I think it could really go, and then just do a little bit better of a price to make sure I get it. Meaning, if I think a price is going to 28, I'd buy at 3. If I think a price was going to go to 100,000, I'll sell at 92. Stuff like that. Or 96, whatever, you know what I mean. So therefore, we're going to see how this market plays out. And again, another reason why it's fail, move, fast move, because if the status doesn't do what it's supposed to, which is go down to that 3,000 mark, then that's a fail. A fail in what you were supposed to do in that type of sense. Of course, the status is to go lower. And the move has been a fast move as expected on a break of that pattern. So nothing unsurprising there. Market's doing what it is. And no matter how far low you're going to go, there's always going to be people talking about it's always over. Markets go up, markets go down. Yet, when the markets were going up, people were saying there's no way Bitcoin's going to lose. It's almost like a natural reaction. On markets going up, people feel the euphoria. It's like everything's great. I mean, you never would think, like, oh my goodness, why is this even going to go down? And then as it goes down, there's just a situation, this is never going to go back up. If you see, again, you see the price action hovering around in this 3,000 area. So thank you for tuning in. Let me just do a quick short-term look before this. But there's really not much more to go over on this. Actually, there is. There's one more chart I wanted to show because I've already prepared what I wanted to talk about. And that is Bitcoin. So against the Coinbase exchange, 43.84, 43.86. That's the same price. On Bitfinex, 45.84. Differential, $200. 430 is 10%, 220 is 5. So it's basically about 5% differential. And we were talking about 2% just a little while ago in here. So obviously, when we look at, say, the code of the true US dollar, and it's 5%, which is 4.69%. This is the daily chart amongst such, and it's had the wild moves, because before all of this was going on, as you can see, it was just stabilizing, with this number being higher, meaning the true US dollar being worth more by that much against that of the tether. So it was marginally true US dollar worth a little bit more. Then all of this happened in September. It stabilized back down marginally more, but then you had this move in October, and then all of this. So it stabilized in October at about 2/3%, and now it has just been continuously moving almost like a regular market would expect to move. And even from playing this game and how it would work, if you're selling on these peaks in here, buying back at the 18 average of lows worked, buying back below it could have worked, or would have worked if it was deep enough. Then there was a sell opportunity in here. And what I was mentioning is the best situation might be, well, the 18 average of lows does very good, and it barely pierced below. The 18 average of lows was 1015. The low was 10136. So it barely pierced below that. And now a sell order has already come into place. We got the 18 average barely starting to rise. This thing is only going to continue to do, it's only going to do one of two things: continue this movement, maybe ride this 18 a little bit higher, extend this level of resistance. We can see in here how it rode the 18 of highs for about close to a week before this big move. So we can do something like that. Or it can correct back, and then the 18 average of lows right now is in at 1.016. And there you'd have it. So wild times are definitely in place. And when I look at the $3,000 support level and all the big support levels for all the cryptocurrencies, it's either got a good chance of sparking an outstanding rally from that point forward, or the crypto game in the long term is doing one of those major bubble pump and dump. Well, not pump and dump, I guess so. But like the tulip mania kind of bubble stage where something goes way up and then way down. Because overall, this is like true US dollar against Tether, which is supposed to represent the US dollar, which is supposed to represent money. And now you got all the cryptocurrencies, which are computer language. As I've been stating for quite some time on this channel, and when you look at my thumbnail of a 1 ounce Canadian silver maple, the only asset class I could put in a safe safely, knowing I can't open the safe for 10 years or 15 years, would be that of silver, with gold being a most certain honorable mention, with really no third honorable mention to even think about, other than stuff like palladium and platinum, but that's just lower scale. And we're talking decent size asset classes of volume, and cryptocurrencies makes the list. And I can put a wallet of and private keys and all that stuff in a safe. In fact, putting $1 billion or $100 million or $50 million worth of cryptos right now in a safe can be done on a small piece of laminated paper with just private keys and stuff like that. That's how storage is relatively very easy on cryptos. Now, I do believe they're going to do very well, cryptocurrencies that is, and I'm not surprised, as I've been stating for so long, that a 3,000 move can come into play. But I'd be I like the chances very highly that level does become a key level of support with much higher gains thereafter, and maybe goes to 1,000, and then it just goes way higher even thereafter that, meaning that you could get into a possible situation where, say, the price action does come down here, and you end up having point low, $2.30, point high, 1,100, point low, about 160, point high, 20,000, point low, 1,000, point high, and then you make that number, 415,000, something like that. That type of mathematics moving forward wouldn't surprise me as well. We're living in a really interesting time when you look at the alternate for what this is priced in, again with the dollar, which has been inflating decently over the last several years. I've noticed a decent rate of inflation, and now a good decade of amazing information for its creation, for easy information knowledge for people on the internet. My favorite is the hidden secrets of money, with honorable mentions for stuff like the Zeitgeist, Federal Reserve, money as debt, and those were the really older ones. And thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.